Yo, what's up, guys? Evil here. Cheers. So yeah, I haven't made a video in a long time. There's a lot of things going on at once, and you don't want to be alarmist about things, but you also don't want to be silent on the big things. And I think that's been very difficult trying to figure out which one to not be silent on out of all the issues. And today I decided I just got to make a video. Just express some of the emotions and thought processes going through my head, because yeah, things have not been good. So what's been going on? Today there were two pieces of news that I really want to focus on. Okay, there is the Bolton investigation. Those of you who don't know, John Bolton was a national security advisor for George Bush. Has been working very closely with Republican candidates for different offices over the years. Well-respected member in the government, in the political community. At least, like, we respect his thought processes, right? We don't always agree with him. But, you know, he's a respectable guy that you could potentially have a sit-down conversation with and not want to kill yourself after. Unlike some of these dudes, you know, looking at Elon Musk and Bannon. Those guys are fucking insane. But, so he has been investigated. His house got raided today. Day of the recording. I don't know what day you're seeing this on. It's April 22nd, for those of you, coming in later. His house got raided today by the FBI. And this seems kind of scary, because he used to be a big Trump supporter. And then January 6th happened. I don't know where you stand on January 6th, but I think we can all agree it wasn't a good day. January 6, 2020, for those of you not aware. It's the day a crowd stormed the Capitol building, hoping to overturn the results of the 2020 election. But that's a different story. If you don't know anything about that, you should definitely Google it. But anyways, so that turned Mr. John Bolton around and changed his mind. And he's been anti-Trump since, but he's also anti-Democrat, so he's kind of against everyone, really, which makes him nobody's friend. So he's being investigated because he wrote a book. I'm going to explain it all to you. Those of you who are like, what the fuck, why do we care if he's being investigated? What's going on? Let me give you the brief rundown. He wrote a book in 2020 about his time in the White House. Like most people do when they leave the White House or leave a job in the government. A lot of them will write a book. It's whatever. You can say it's corrupt, you can say it's whatever the fuck you want to say. I haven't seen any evidence that that's like a serious issue outside of like fringe cases. And if you're talking about it, then like it seems like they didn't get away with it. So I don't really get the problem. But yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. But anyways, John Bolton writes this book. He has a national security clearance. Under Trump, he was actually the ambassador to the United Nations. He worked really closely with the president on a lot of things, mainly international relations. And he writes this book. And he sends a copy to the FBI and DOJ, whoever. And he's like, hey, I would like permission to publish this book. And I want you guys to go through it and clear it. Because there might be, like, top secret information in there, because I have a top secret clearance. I want to make sure that this passes. I don't want to accidentally leak top secret clearance. DOJ sends the book back to him, and they say, there's top secret shit in here, don't send it out. You can't publish this book. Okay, he doesn't publish the book, but somebody leaks it. Either his publisher, his editor, his fucking cousin, we don't know. Somebody leaks this book. And we have no evidence, really, that it was him. The government does an investigation in 2020 that ends in 2021. He's found not guilty by the government. They don't have a trial, but they decide, we don't have evidence, we can't pursue this. And then Donald Trump, now, 4 years later, is in office, and within 6 months, one of his most credible detractors in the media has his house getting raided by the FBI. Alright, that seems shady, at the very least. Now, some of you are saying, what about Trump? Didn't his house get raided? Didn't Mar-a-Lago get raided? I think that's a very different issue. Because we have a paper trail of how that went down. And for those of you who don't know, let me give you the synopsis. There's a government agency called NARA, National Archive Records Association, something like that. They are in charge of all of the official like archives and records and letter. They manage all the letters and things of that nature from every president. And they noticed when Trump left the White House, they were like, "Hey, we're missing some things. I bet you Trump probably has them." And so they sent him letters over the course of a year. They sent multiple letters to this guy, and he never responded to any of them. Now, Trump had these documents. They did a raid on Mar-a-Lago, and he had the documents. Like, he literally had them, and he was ordering his employees to hide them as well. You can look into, what's the guy's name? Nwada? Something like that. Look, just Google Trump employee arraigned or indicted for helping him hide documents. Like, just Google that. It'll explain it all. But we have a paper trail. If you're curious about it, you can read it and learn. Now, I think, in general, Donald Trump attacking his political opponents with the legal system is bad. I think everyone agrees that's bad. If you don't think that, or if you're not admitting to thinking that, you're probably lying. Because everyone thought, hey, Joe Biden shouldn't target political opponents with the DOJ. And whether he did or not, like, I'd be happy to debate them with anyone. I don't think he did. But, regardless, if you think that's bad, I don't understand why you're supporting this. Because it's pretty obvious that that's what Trump's doing right now. John Bolton's been around for a long fucking time, okay? He's not leaking classified information just because he's mad at Trump. This is a professional. He's been doing this since, like, the 80s, I think. Like, dude's fucking old. He's never gotten in trouble for doing this kind of thing. Even during Trump's White House days, he wasn't even the leaker. The dude who leaked all the stuff to the press, if you're wondering, turns out it was Steve Bannon. So, low friends in low places, it's not getting you anywhere, Mr. Trump. But I think this is pretty obvious that that Trump's using the DOJ to attack his opponents. And people who thought Biden shouldn't do that should definitely be standing up and saying Trump shouldn't do that. Otherwise, like, if we read into your words and actions, not just your words, if you don't speak up now, it kind of sounds like you're saying, oh, Democrats shouldn't do that to Republicans, but Republicans should do that to Democrats. If you believe that, then I disregard your opinion entirely. I think you're an idiot and a hypocrite. And we shouldn't have that in America, in general. That's a bad place to be. And I think pretty much anything should go as far as stopping that from being commonplace, right? What Newsom's doing with redistricting in California, that normally I'd say that's fucked. We shouldn't do that. But considering that Donald Trump immediately prior had told Texas to find him 5 more seats, the same way he told Georgia to find him like 5,000 more votes. Like, we can't be having this. This can't be going on. And there's a running theme here. All right? Donald Trump does something. He gets in trouble for it. We have evidence of it. And then they try to say, oh, well, Democrats did it. And you look at the Democrats, we don't have evidence for that. We just have, like, some sussy-looking pictures that Fox News has been posting for fucking 3 years straight, trying to get it to stick. It's wild that this is going on. Now, the second big issue, and this is arguably a much bigger issue, is that Donald Trump has seemed to got it into his head that he can deploy the National Guard anywhere he wants. This kind of ends up with him attacking political opponents with the justice system, but now it seems like he's targeting politically opposite populations with the military. All right? You can say, oh, they aren't killing anyone, stuff like that, but that's not really the point here, right? He's deploying the military into blue cities to scare people, like with the express intent of scaring the population. Or maybe he might also be just trying to see how far he can go with it, right? I don't think it's going to be very long. Maybe, I don't know, I give it like less than a year, 6 months, maybe. I might be being a little pessimistic here, before he comes in and goes, oh yeah, and the National Guard can now use lethal force. That's going to be an issue. That is a huge issue. that we're even sliding towards this. All right, one of the huge arguments I heard against banning the Second Amendment are rejecting, like, are not banning the Second Amendment. That's what the debate ended up being. But I had this one debate with a Republican, and it started off really good. And he was saying, listen, if you start limiting the amount of guns you can have, it's a slippery slope. It's just a slippery slope, right? Everything that I said, well, it's just a slippery slope, you know, one misstep and suddenly now we don't have the Second Amendment. And, you know, I don't really give a shit about the Second Amendment, I'll be honest with you. Like, it's cool to own guns. Guns are cool. All right? They're dope. I don't think crazy people should have them. I don't think you have an absolute right to be armed to the teeth like fucking Rambo in the middle of, like, New York City. Like, you fall and a gun goes off. You're, like, packed up. Imagine, like, 9 shotguns on your back, walking down the stairs, slip on a stair, land on your back, 2 shotguns go off, you Alex Baldwin someone's ass. Like, I think in general, like, restrictions on gun ownership are good. Anyways, besides that, he was slippery slope. But now we have Donald Trump sending Marines into civilian areas, like, armed. Like, I saw military vehicles driving down the freeway of LA while I was out doing deliveries. Like, that is intending to scare people. And if that isn't a fucking slippery slope, that's not even a slippery slope. That's like a slippery cliff, right? Like, holy shit. If you're worried about, like, just adding, like, a psych test before you're allowed to get an automatic weapon, if you think that's, like, overstepping your constitutional rights, what the fuck is this? Like, come on. This is insane. He just gave the ICE department more funding than he gave the Marines. Like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Now, some go, oh, ICE, that's good. Like, if you're people who are in the military, you can confirm for me. The military is not allowed to conduct policing operations in civilian areas unless under very specific situations, like the Civil War, and that's about it. Okay? The military isn't the police. They're not trained to be the police. They're not taught how to de-escalate situations. They're not taught how to handle crowds. Like, this isn't what the military is there for. The military police, which is like a job within the military, which is a police officer, yeah, they're probably trained for those things. But, like, the average infantryman, what are they trained to do? They're trained to kill. Like, straight up. That's what they do. That's their job, is to kill the enemies of America. But if they're in America, and, you know, pretty soon, one of them is going to kill someone. Probably. These are 18, 19-year-olds. I love you. You're brave, awesome, great. But you're 18 or 19. There's thousands of you. One of you is going to be that guy. Okay? Don't be that guy. My military people. Don't be that guy. Some of you are laughing, and some of you are like, what the fuck is this guy on? It's a thing in the military. You say, don't be that guy, or you're that guy, whatever. Just don't be that fucking guy, okay? Stop. Don't be that guy. Who ruins it for everyone. But someone's always that guy. That's the thing about that saying. Somebody always ends up being that guy. And, you know, slippery slope. He's that guy, goes to court. President goes, oh, he's fine. That's our young boy. He made a mistake. And, you know, a year later, you have Marines opening fire into a crowd. How do you think the Boston Massacre happened? That's what kickstarted the Revolutionary War in many senses. That you can say the Boston Tea Party, yeah, like all that together. But the Boston Massacre was one of the big ones. And we're getting very close to risking a Boston Massacre type situation. There's a reason they can't house the military in your homes. That's one of the Bill of Rights amendments. Okay? It's big. It's because they don't want the military coming in and interacting with civilian population that much. Not like they don't want them off the base. They're saying, like, they don't want them to have an official role in maintaining the government on national soil. They're meant to handle the enemies of America. The enemies of America are not other Americans. Anyway, I think, so yeah, if you're not scared about this, you probably should be. And also, I think there's an interesting pattern to note here. Trump saying he's doing this to curb crime, right? But, like, 8 out of the top 10 cities for crime in America are in red states. Memphis, Tennessee, a red state, they have the highest murder rate. Why isn't the Tennessee National Guard being mobilized into Memphis? What's going on, guys? Like, I don't know. It seems wild that the red states have all these issues, and then they turn around and they be like, "Oh, Los Angeles, Washington D.C., New York, they're the problem. They got to be handled." When you have massive poverty all across like Central America, or not like Central America, Mexico. I mean like Central United States of America. You know, north of Texas, south of Canada, like right there. That's where you have a lot of poverty. Got a lot of empty land that isn't like modernized. No one lives out there. Things are expensive. It's hard to get materials into the heart of America. There's tornadoes, there's storms. You know, shit happens in the middle of America that's not so great. And great things that come out of the middle of America are like food exports and stuff. Like, is like how can we not be focused on making the middle of America better, right? When Los Angeles, New York, Washington D.C., these are the economic powerhouses of the world. Okay? Now, I get that you might see some scary clips on YouTube every now and then, but I need you to understand something. Los Angeles County, which is like 60 by 60 miles, something like that, it has a population of over 9 million. Okay? Over 9 million. Just in Los Angeles County. What's the population of all of Tennessee, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, all the other villes that are in Tennessee? I know there's like 50 of them. What's the population of all of Tennessee? It's a little bit over 7 million. So you have 9 million in one county, then you have all these other states with less people per county. No wonder you're all looking at Los Angeles and New York when you see videos of crazy shit happening. That's where all the people live. It doesn't mean it's crazy out here. You don't need to be scared of Los Angeles and New York, all right? Do cities have some issues? Yeah, when you bring a lot of people into close proximity, issues occur. Things happen. But this fear or anger at big cities has got to go. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you guys in the middle of America, but build something to be proud of. Stop being so pissed off at the cities that are doing good. Alright? Los Angeles makes a lot of fucking money. It has a really goddamn big GDP. Does it have a lot of homeless people? Yeah. Does it have a lot of people in general? Yeah. It has a fuckload. More than some states. More than most states, actually. So, I don't know. I think y'all need to chill out. We do need to be a little scared right now about Donald Trump. But I think we need to be more scared of the people who are supporting him. Like, throughout all this, who have ignored the vast majority of complaints that occurred during Biden's era, and now that Trump is doing arguably the same thing, I would say much worse things, they're supporting it. Or they're saying, oh, I'm unsure. When Biden did it, they're, Biden, he fucking did that to a little girl once. Oh my fucking God, in a picture. I don't even know for sure if he wasn't just doing this real fast or like kissing the top of her head. It was a weird picture. And then Trump is like, we're sending the Marines into Los Angeles. And they're like, huh, that's not good. Oh well. Like, there's a disconnect there, guys. Like, I don't care if you think you're neutral. That's a fucking disconnect. Like, that's a huge fucking disconnect between, like, how you react to each side. So, I'm gonna stop ranting. I'm so fucking annoyed by this. I think the fact that America hasn't impeached this idiot it blows my mind. Like, holy shit, it blows my mind. But, y'all have a great night. I hope I don't get disappeared for making anti-Trump videos. It's looking more and more possible by the day. Like and subscribe so I have enough followers that he can't disappear me easily. Later.